Hello, this is a reading for number 6. Calling these numerology readings, I'm not exactly sure what that means. Other than, if you're going to use this to as a reading for your life path number, or if the number means something else for you in particular, or if you want to take a combination of numbers that you've seen and watch a few readings to kind of decipher what it is that it means that you keep seeing the same number over and over again. Here we go. This is for number 6, and we'll see what we get. Do you know what I'm seeing there used to be this commercial with this for a back medication, like for a muscle relaxant, and then there'd be like this wooden character, and then they stuck all these pins in it, and then they take the pins out, and then the character feels better. I'm getting this pained thing, like nerve pain. You could be suffering from some nerve pain, which I can relate with. I've been experiencing some aches and pains. I got my booster shot yesterday, and today has not been a good day for feeling tip-top. I've been feeling a bit under the weather today. Quite under the weather today. Interesting. Somebody who's like, oh, look at that. Doesn't this look like the picture that I just took? So just so you know, I'm also streaming this as I'm recording it on Discord, and there's some people watching. So it's funny, I just took a break and I went and made myself this hot beverage, which is really nice. And I took a picture of Colin, and this reminds me of the picture I just took of Colin. Effort. Seeing an effort. Acknowledging? I think this is the energy of acknowledging. You're being acknowledged for something. In number 6. In the spirit... Ooh, pardon me. Sorry for that being so loud. These cards can get kind of loud if they... This is kind of speaking to that big theme that's been coming out. It's something about like integrating with what you see with what you carry, like that what you experience has something to do with what you see. Somebody who's finding what they're looking for. Nine of Wands. So I don't know, maybe this energy here is something that you've been trying to maybe show somebody, or basically like somebody keeps trying to understand what you mean when you say this. Maybe somebody keeps trying to understand if you're saying something like, oh my gosh, I'm just seeing a Colin gif. Does it go? Does it move? Oh, look at him. He's so little. Oh, look at him, he's so little. I don't even remember that video. Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing something that's being posted on the Discord, and is that even Colin? It looks like him. It's not Colin, but it looks exactly like him, doesn't it? That's so funny. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that, everybody who's watching on YouTube and unaware of what's going on the Discord right now, because you're watching later than when this happened. I wonder if you've been if you've been trying to understand, somebody's been trying to tell you about something. About or maybe you keep trying to explain something. This is a lot of wands. I've got 9 of Wands, Queen of Wands, 10 of Wands. Okay, this is cool. This is like, we've been getting Page of Pentacles as like what you offer that somebody says is not enough. That you can keep trying to give somebody chances to understand something, but they have to experience it for themselves. They have to see it for themselves. That's really the energy that I have here, is that you might be trying to convince somebody of something that you couldn't possibly convince somebody of. That they would have to see themselves, they would have to see themselves doing something and make the connection that these two things are interrelated. What is it that they're doing? Working so hard. Overwhelmed, working so hard. To be, oh wow, working really hard to be on your level with something. So you might be trying to convince someone that they're seeing some, oh, I get it, okay? So here's what I get, is that you might, this is so always, you might be trying to convince somebody of something that they have to see for themselves. I feel like what you see that they maybe don't see, and actually you might be preventing them from seeing it because you might be trying too hard to convince them of something that they have to see for themselves, and they might be just rejecting the whole thing. But I feel like you might see them as working really, really hard at something, or they're trying really hard for something. And it's like they're trying to, they're trying too hard to be on your level, to work with you. They're trying too hard to do things the way you do them. And you might see that they're trying too hard. But then again, is it that you're seeing that they're trying too hard, or does you seeing it have something to do with what you're seeing? Five of Swords. I would say yes. I'm kind of getting the energy of somebody who's trying to convince somebody of something. They feel like they're not doing enough. They feel like this person is saying, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. And so then you might take that as like, I'm not doing enough. Meanwhile, it's like, stop working so hard. Stop trying so hard. You might be telling somebody to stop trying so hard. I'm getting a bit confused in this reading. You know, 6 is a cool number. It's really, it's interesting. It's about appearances. It's about what things appear to be. It's when we had 6 of Pentacles earlier in an earlier reading. I think it was number 4 or something. And it's really about somebody who's like sees themselves as, you know, donating their time to something. That being, you know, somebody's presence is like enough. Because, thanks for the visit, Dirk. That was Dirk, everybody. It's like they think very highly of themselves. They think that they're doing everything on their own, and they realize down the road in that reading that actually somebody else was putting quite a lot of... It was actually something that... Let me put it this way. Sometimes we can feel like we're capable of affecting or controlling another person. Or sometimes we can feel like we are the only thing that is doing work in a situation. We're the only one who's working on it. We're the only one who's trying so hard. Or we're the only one who's trying just the right amount. Stop trying to do things like I do them, because you're not doing it right anyway. That's what I'm hearing here. You're not doing it right anyway. But it also comes with like this telling someone else to stop doing something because that's not the way you do it anyway. Stop trying to be like me, and you're not even doing it right anyway. I would never work that hard for it, or something like that. And there's this kind of like continuing to try to convince someone of something, and there's a sense of almost regret for not doing enough, for not being able to do enough to convince somebody that they're working too hard, that there's something to be said for, rather than trying to convince somebody of something, just show them. I feel like that's maybe where you're going now. So this might be kind of like, we might be placing ourselves at this part of the reading. This might be right now. You might be actually, you've already kind of decided to put your efforts into just doing what you do and letting somebody figure it out on their own, how to meet you in that. Getting a lot of like people, person readings today. Yeah, so there's that Nine of Cups. It's like somebody might have assumed that they were doing all the work. And if you keep trying to convince them, no, you're not actually doing it all. I'm actually giving you this idea here. Like, I'm actually doing a lot. And you're working too hard to, I don't know, you're trying too hard to decide, almost, like, Four of Pentacles. No. I'm doing all the work, says somebody. Okay, fine then. I'm not going to do any more work since I'm not doing enough anyway. And then somebody realizes that this is the same reading. And then somebody realizes that, wait a minute. I thought I was doing all the work. You can't take your efforts away, and it's almost like dissatisfied. Like it's somebody who's getting what they wanted. They wanted for you to give up so that they could prove to themselves that they were doing all the work. But the whole point is that under here, there's this Queen of Wands who was seeing that they were doing all the work, because in that would basically affected how things happened. And so I get this energy of like dissatisfaction with what we actually did say we wanted. So they wanted this, and now they're realizing there's something here in Nine of Cups of like, you know, still looking over to see what it is that you're not doing. Even though they've already expressed that they're doing everything and that what you're doing is not enough. I can get what I want on my own. This is interesting. Why we're getting this twice, I don't know. Wheel of Fortune here is going to talk about it being like something that plays out over time. And there's that High Priestess. It plays out over time in such a way where the person who thought that they were doing all the work, and then for some reason they don't want you to, it's like they see you basically giving up. Like, I'm doing all the work in something. And so it's like, fine then, I'm going to give up. You might be like that with somebody. When you give up, I feel like you continue to do what you've always been doing. And you make basically you try your best. I think the idea here is to try your best to try your best. I mean, it takes a lot of strength to hold yourself up against an energy that's trying to convince you. It's really interesting. You're trying to convince this energy that they're seeing that because they're seeing that. That's what they're focusing on. They're focusing on their own work, and so they're not seeing what you're doing. And you're trying to convince someone of that, but like, it's not enough. Like, they have to figure that out for themselves. And here's how it plays out over time, is that when you withdraw your energy from somebody who tells you that they're doing all the work, when you know you're doing work, and actually you might actually have an understanding that you're actually putting in the type of work where you're expecting them to meet you. But you withdraw your energy, and that same work that you keep on doing just goes into a different place. It goes into a place where you're working on yourself or something. Listen, this person for some reason has a very solid understanding of where your energy is. Even though they're coming across as 9 of Cups in this reading, where like they're getting what they wanted, they just wanted to kind of be separate from you, that they wanted to get what they wanted on their own. I'm seeing that when you hold yourself up against their claims that they're doing all the work, and you continue with what you know, you continue, oh sorry, the cats are just jumping all over where the microphone is, so the camera's shaking. But when you continue with what you know, you're kind of, I've got Empress and Emperor. It's kind of like you have that kind of, you're basically holding your own here. And when you hold your own, for some reason they know, all of a sudden they figure out what you were trying to convince them of all along. And what they're knowing is, what's hidden under here is that there's a Queen of Pentacles under here somewhere, wherever she is. She's right under here, who was determining the situation from a certain vantage point. So why are we getting this reading? I'm going to get a whole new spread of cards because I messed this one all up anyway. Ooh, Dirk's got a new favorite place to lay. He's just laying right up there. He's on top of a speaker, and I like that. Even though he shakes the camera to get up there, he's just laying there nice. I think I've deterred it. This is like a Dirk deterrent. Oh, this here, I don't know if you've ever been told this before, and so maybe it's just kind of like, you might be encountering somebody like this. This doesn't resonate with me right now, but I've encountered this before. Somebody who goes to all that trouble to try to convince you that you're not doing enough, that they're doing all the work, and you know, they're focused on what you're not doing, and then they can't see what you are doing. And then after all of that, when you kind of held your own and you just continue doing what you're doing, and you just stop contributing to something because they're telling you that this could be a project that you're working on with somebody, and somebody might be like constantly focused on what's not good about what you're doing, or what you're not doing enough of, or something like that. Meanwhile, they're not seeing what you are doing. And then you say, okay, fine then, I won't work on this project anymore with you. I'm just gonna do my own project then. And then there's this kind of energy here that flips. It's just like, yeah, well, I didn't want to do that anyway, so so I'm just gonna go after some other, like, you know, that means it wasn't meant to be. That's what somebody would do here. Is say, well, you know, I didn't even want it anyway. It's kind of like, what's that thing when you're playing tug of war with somebody and then they just let go? Like, I didn't even want to be involved in this anyway. I'm not liking this energy that's on the kind of the upright. I'm just going to, that means it wasn't meant to be. They put themselves in that position. Oh my goodness. That's like way too many cards, but they fell all on the table, so I'll take it all. Here we go. Wow. This is a pretty loud story. It's a very loud story. What is this, Dirk? Hi, Dirk. Dirk wants some pats. Yeah. They might say something like, "It's not even what I wanted anyway. I'm going off to, you know, find my own way." That means it wasn't meant to be. And they hang themselves up in a position. You know what, this is almost like the reading before the last reading. It's almost like 6 comes before 5, like that the 6th reading is the precursor to the 5 reading. Because it's like somebody who feels almost betrayed when you continue to offer your loyalty. Like you continue to offer what you have to give. It's really interesting here. 6 of Pentacles is kind of, you're maybe in this position here where you're feeling like that you have more than enough time and energy to spend, like offering friendship to somebody who already decided that you weren't offering enough. Hi, Colin. And for some reason, if you continue to do the thing you've always done, you hold your own and you offer them, you have some to spare almost. That kind of like, that contradicts their whole thing here. Oh, it was meant to be, you know. I was doing all the work and now it means that, you know, and I wasn't going to put up with it, so away I go. And you're like, okay, fine, you're doing all the work. Go ahead and do all the work. And then it's almost like they've put themselves in a position where they can't see the work that you're doing. Because if they were to see the work that you're doing, if they're to see what you're putting into it, they would be betraying their own decision to see things a certain way, to see you as somebody who isn't doing enough. And if they were to accept any kind of help or offer of, you know, if you offer them help in some way, you see that they're stuck with something and you want to help them out, they can't accept that from you. This is a pride thing. It's very much a pride thing. You're holding your own. You know what? I said I didn't like this energy. I don't like this energy. This energy doesn't want to see you doing well, is basically it. Somebody who decided that you weren't doing enough. Meanwhile, you know full well that you were doing enough. And not only, it's up to them to decide if it's enough or not. That's fair enough. But you were doing stuff. And you continue to do that stuff to the point where you're holding your own, you're nurturing your own kind of I'd like to say connectedness in terms of resources here. Like, you know, you're basically spending your time and you're regenerating your time. This could be about work. It could be about people who work together. And I said a project, so it could even be like if you're in school and you were doing a project with somebody, I'm just going to do it on my own, and you actually hold your own and you do really well. That actually, they can't see that, because if they were to see that, then that would contradict their whole everything. Here they are, 10 of Wands still. I don't think this person is going to change from this scenario. I feel like they would rather carry the weight here, and this might be the same repeat thing that you've always seen with this person, if it's somebody you're working with, or it's something, it could be something that you've seen in certain types of people that like to kind of like, it's almost like a negative focus, like, oh, I don't know, you're not doing enough, like, I'm doing all the work. If somebody has that mentality that they're doing all the work and it's not fair that they're having to do so much, they might be kind of committed to maintaining that rather than seeing it differently. And it would take something for them to see something differently. Now, 10 of Wands, when they're carrying that kind of like pain, or, you know, it's that experience, they're carrying their experiences with them. Here's what it is that we carry our experiences with us. We have to remember that we're carrying what we perceived with us. We're not carrying objective truth about what happened. We're carrying our experience. And that's our memory. What I'm seeing is you making a different choice moving forward. If you observe that this person is in a different energy, that even though you've decided to withdraw your energy, to do things on your own, to, you know, hold your own, and that you're actually doing really well, and they're not willing to see that because they don't want to see it, because they want to see that they're, you know, they were right. What I see you moving forward with, I see you not looking at yourself as somebody who was doing all the work. I see you not seeing yourself as somebody who abandoned a situation because you were doing all the work. I see you as somebody who took what somebody said at face value, and when somebody found themselves hung up on their own kind of interpretation of your intentions and your efforts, even if you were to offer them help, if you were to try to explain to them, hey, you know, I see it a different way, you know, I don't think this person is wanting to go there. So if that clears things up for you, I feel like that this is, I like this energy here. This energy here seems to me like very kind of, you know, holding your own doesn't mean, you know, taking care of yourself doesn't mean constantly focusing on how much you're doing and how much someone else isn't doing. Holding your own is just generating enough for yourself so that if you want to offer help to somebody, you can. And they have to accept it. If they want to accept it, they can accept it. And if they don't, they don't. High Priestess. We're getting the exact same readings the whole night through. Of course, I'm using the same deck, so I could be using different decks. But I have a feeling we get the same message anyway. This High Priestess is basically here as they might be carrying this around, this need to be right about their interpretation. Something about them knows. Basically, when you refuse, or you're basically not wanting to see things as you did all the work anyway, and you're leaving because you were just doing all the work. When you offer somebody help, even after they've kind of like determined that you don't do enough, if they don't accept it, that's their thing. But what they can know there is that they walked away from something, and that they walked away with this feeling like they're carrying all these experiences. And that's something they get to kind of explore on their own. Like this is how I think they end up seeing on their own whatever it is they're going to see out of it. I don't think right now they're going to see much. I get this energy as being kind of like, well, I didn't want it anyway. Then I almost get this like, it's so manipulative, push-pull, you know? I got this push-pull. Last but not least, wow. Now, Two of Cups looks like a relationship, but I feel like we kind of read enough about Two of Cups in the past few readings to know that it's got more to do with the relationship you have between what you know and what you don't know, your conscious and your subconscious. It's kind of focusing your efforts, what you're doing, even if it's hard work, rather than focusing on what you're doing and what others aren't doing. It's deciding to focus on what you're doing to understand the relationship between what you know and what you don't know. There are things that you don't know about this person. Most of all, what you don't know, what you might be able to observe is that they're kind of like doing this push-pull thing and kind of withdrawing and saying, you know, I didn't want to work with you anyway, or I didn't want to be around you anyway, or something like that. And that's what you don't know is where they're going to go after that. But what you can know is that there's no way for them to ignore the fact that you offered them help anyway. And so there's something here. I don't know if this is a full story, or you might just be taking parts out of this story. There might be somebody who is going to, they don't know why you offer help anyway. And that's something you can know, is that you know why they don't know why you offer them help anyway? Because they've already determined that they're not going to see the efforts that you make. And so they're not going to know why. They're not going to be able to deny that they were offered help. But they're not going to know why. They put themselves in that position where they don't get to know why. It doesn't add up. It won't make sense to them. And that's maybe something, you know? You are maybe able to show somebody, rather than trying to convince someone that what they see is the reality they create, like that they focus on certain things, then they're going to experience those things. But I see somebody here who's been very crafty. This number 6 has been very crafty, so as to kind of, okay, let me know if you need any help anytime soon, or anytime in the future. I'm around. And they don't know. It doesn't make sense to them. And that's something. When something doesn't make sense, that's usually when we start exploring, like, why is that? So if any curiosity exists here, I'm just reading the chat. There's something going on. I don't know what it is. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to let this one go where it is. So I would say that this is kind of cool, this energy. If you've decided to, focus on continuing to do what you do, you give someone the perfect tool of not understanding why you do what you do. And if they want to investigate, they can. But that would be them. It would take them to want to see it differently, is basically it. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out here in the reading, number 6. We're going to do number 7, number 8, number 9, maybe a 0, I don't know. If you have any to spare to toss into the hat, there's a PayPal link there if you want to donate to the channel. Another way to support the channel, come hang out. We do live stream on Twitch on Saturday nights, and from there you can maybe even pop onto the Discord where there are people right now who are putting things in the chat and watching as we record these live. So thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you later. Bye.